News that's coming in.
We're getting in breaking inputs. This is in fact the Truth Social post by the US President. He's in fact taken to Truth Social post ever since he's in fact announced that ceasefire. He's been doing so. Let's quickly play this post out for our viewers on the big screen. This is what the US President has got to say, that it's a big day for world peace. Going to request my director to in fact hold this post at the moment. Now, the important part of this post is that the US President has announced that they will be loading the Strait of Hormuz with traffic build-up. There will be lots of positive action. If you look at the post that's gone on to declare that there will be lots of positive action, big money will be made. We'll be loading up with supplies of all kinds and just hanging around over there in order to make sure that everything goes well. I feel confident that it will, just like we are experiencing in the US. This could be the golden age of the Middle East. A big day for world peace. Iran wants it to happen. They've had enough. Likewise, so has everyone else. The United States of America will help with the traffic build-up in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, why is this post so important? Remember, first of all, to break it down for you, the US President has always claimed that it is not the United States' headache to come up with the reparations for Iran. He, in fact, in the initial days of the war, had even said that the cost will be borne by the US allies in West Asia that included Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, and other countries. But now there's been a change in the stance. So the US President playing very smart out there. Right. He's using it not just as a leverage was being used by Iran, Siddhant, but now the US President also doing
that's right. Going by the vocabulary used by President Trump in this post, perhaps it's businessman Trump, speaking with his constituents, and he's saying that I will make everything all right. Will make big money, traffic build up, so on and so forth. So the hints which I could understand is that US President is making things very clear. In fact, he's diluting the main point of contention, which is Hormuz Strait, that it's most likely US allies and Iran will jointly be controlling. He's also talking about big money being involved. Perhaps he is also hinting at the fact that even the United States or US allies are also going to be benefited from the ships transiting through the Hormuz.
Why that matters, Siddhant, take our viewers through what the toll fee is going to be about.
Right.
And it's not just friendly nations. You're looking at other US allies and their vessels passing through the strait, which means big money for Iran.
Of course, Akanksha, because so far, Strait of Hormuz is an international waters. It's not Omanese or Iranian water. And there was never any toll which was applied for any vessel to be transiting through the Hormuz. This would be the first time in the history that the vessels will be paying money to Iran, to Oman, or perhaps maybe United States for the ships to be transiting. And Iran got this act passed in their parliament. Yes. It's an act now in Iran, and Iran says that this is how we are going to make money for and compensate for the damages.
And that is why the US President maintaining over there that they will hold traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. Siddhant and I will continue to bring all the latest. But first up, let's quickly go across to Chris.
There are questions that remain unanswered. So let's quickly take you through some of these questions because they also lie at the heart of what means really for all stakeholders concerned going forward. What has the United States gained after 40 days if the passage via Hormuz remains at IRGC's behest? Very clear that Iran maintains that we still have control over the strait. Despite the 40-day conflict, this is what it's come down to, and that's making everyone wonder at this point in time, what did US really gain of this? Can the alignment hold among key players like Israel? Because Israel, remember, while it welcomed the mediation which was held by Pakistan, while it did say that it stands with the United States of America in this decision, it's also made it amply clear that they're going to continue to target Hezbollah sites in all of Lebanon. That remains another core concern, remember. The next question being asked is, can Donald Trump sell the ceasefire as a win to the domestic audiences? Which takes us to the question, or rather the numbers that we've been putting out, viewers, on how his approval ratings have been slipping, and since they've been sliding, there were a lot of concerns that Americans had been raising. Does this really address, does this quote-unquote ceasefire with so many questions unanswered really address America's concerns? Will the truce produce tangible outcomes or simply delay return to the conflict? Is this really a ceasefire, two-week ceasefire, or possibly a temporary truce and something that could really hit the pause button at any given time, given how so many of these questions remain unanswered and there are too many dots that need to be joined still? Not all is adding up and all is favoring a concrete ceasefire. Has Donald Trump normalized coercive escalation as a diplomatic tool? Now, all the threats that were coming in from the US president, the social media posts that many had taken strong offense to, has that really paid off at the end of the day? And this is possibly being seen as now the biggest diplomatic strategy that's been adopted by President Donald Trump. Whether or not this favors him is a question for another day. But Akanksha is joining us with more in the meanwhile.
Krithween, thank you for taking us through all of those 10 questions.